Hey everybody, this is Greg, and I decided to do a video today regarding a unsolved murder case that happened in a town where I used to live when I was in my early teens, going through high school. This was back in October of 1991. My parents and I just moved into this town called Wheeling, Illinois. Wheeling, Illinois is approximately about 25 miles northwest of downtown Chicago. And we moved there in about March area. And I was a freshman in high school, so you can see how far back we're going and how old I am. And this case actually happened in October 28th of 1991. When we lived in this complex, it was a combination of apartments and townhomes and even condos. And the day after this murder happened, I happened to be walking around the neighborhood, and this specific incident happened in a townhome, and it was kind of tucked away, so you couldn't really see it until you're like basically right on it or near the street. And we lived probably about 4 to 5 streets back. So when this really happened, we didn't hear the sirens like police cars, fire trucks, paramedics. So we didn't even know what was going on. But the next day, which was on Tuesday, and this happened on Monday, October 28th, and I was walking around after school. I used to do a lot of walking around when I was young. Actually, I still do, but I was walking around the area and I noticed some yellow tape in a squad car sitting in front of a townhome. And I thought it was a fire because normally you don't think of a murder happening in your neighborhood. And of all the previous places I've lived in, has always been a fire. And happened to find out later on that day on the news, they were doing an update regarding a murder that happened in the neighborhood. So again, when this happens really close to you, you're in shock. But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about the story. Again, this happened back on October 28th, 1991. It was a Monday, and this happened around 11:30 in the morning in a townhome in the Arlington Club subdivision of Wheeling, Illinois. A woman's body was found semi-unconscious. She did later die at the hospital. An unidentified man called 911 from a nearby payphone, and the payphone was located just a few streets from where I live. There was this small strip mall right at the entrance to our complex. Actually, our complex had two entrances. The one that was near me, where the gentleman called 911 on the payphone, and then where the crime happened was on near the second entrance to the complex. And the caller said, "Can you send an ambulance right away? There's a young woman not breathing. She's turning blue." When the dispatcher was asked when he was in the townhome, he immediately hung up. When the police arrived, they noticed there was no sign of forced entry. In fact, the police noticed the door was closed but not locked. They believe the victim knew the killer. They did find fingerprints on the scene, but there were no matches. The police noticed a pillow and believed she was smothered by it. Due to the crime scene, police believe there was a struggle, but she was not raped. She was found on the bedroom floor wearing a tie-dyed nightshirt and underwear. They noticed she had minor bruises to her face, neck, and mouth. No one in her family could identify the voice of the caller. Police do believe the suspect was in the area or from the area and also knew the victim. The Wheeling police and the FBI interviewed more than 100 people, and out of those 115 took lie detector tests. The victim was known as Jamie Lynn Santos, She was 27 years old, and she was an exotic dancer. She performed for private parties in Wheeling and Chicago. Here, her stage name was Sasha. She was currently looking for other work and even mentioned about going to college. She was very close to her family, and as of right now, the case still is unsolved and no one has been named a suspect. So again, this crime happened right down the street from us, and it was shocking. Like I said, we weren't in the neighborhood for very long because we just moved there, so it's always shocking when something like this happens. And again, at this time, there has not been any leads. They've had a few people come forward, saying that the voice sounded familiar, but again, it didn't really get anywhere. They did interview people, but this, again, crime has been unsolved. So hopefully down the road they will solve this type of crime, but for right now there's just not enough evidence or enough people to come forward. And again, this happened at around 11:30 in the morning, and at that time it was a Monday, so a lot of the neighbors were probably at work or school or whatever, and so nobody probably heard anything or seen anything since the door was found closed and unlocked. So again, there was no forced entry, so there was no commotion in the area. So again, when you don't have witnesses in the area, that makes the crime harder to solve. So you can only go by voice or maybe a vehicle if the person was driving the vehicle at that time and somebody saw that vehicle leave in a hurry, footprints, stuff like that. So again, if you don't have that, then you're basically got a tough time solving this crime. So again, hopefully down the road they'll solve that. But that's it for right now. I just wanted to give a video about an unsolved murder case that happened in my area. I will be doing more videos as time goes on, different things. So stay tuned, and I hope everybody has a great day. Take care.